Welcome to Outside In, a property podcast with myself, Zoe. And today I'm really excited. We've saved the best for now to have Barry Pound here. He's the licensee and director of Beagl Buyers Agency, where I now work. So full disclosure. So, today we're talking all about buyers agents and specifically buyers agents in Perth. So Barry, welcome.
Thank you, Sarah, and it's great to have you on the team as well. That's for
Thank
sure.
you. I know I was
I've
nervous
already
to
had
do
real
this
estate
one.
agents try to poach you.
Oh, wow,
All right,
that's
so
cool.
that's a very much a compliment.
That is cool. That
All
is cool. I didn't know when I first met you and Matt that I was going to become a buyer's agent. So it has been a long journey, and I've definitely learnt so much from you, and I'm so grateful for the
I
opportunity.
think you're very well suited to the position.
Oh,
There's
thank you,
no doubt
Barry.
about it. All
Thank you,
right.
Barry. Thank you. But I did want to save this one for a bit later
Yep.
until I got a bit more confident in the role, but also knew the right questions to ask you and made the most of, your knowledge on a buyer's agent
Sure.
and why we have buyer's agents now in Perth. So
Yeah.
I guess first, tell us a bit about yourself, Barry, and why you have started Beagl.
Okay. I've been in the industry for 35 years. In that time, as a licensed real estate agent and a settlement agent as well. So I'm a licensed conveyancer. In that time, we've had a number of real estate agencies in different areas, from Port Hedland to Fremantle to Cardinia to Mount Pleasant. I do enjoy the industry very, very much.
Yeah.
In 1999, we created a settlement agency, which has now been rolled into a law firm. Actually, two settlement agencies, West Coast Conveyancing as well. And I find I've got more time now
Yeah.
to, I guess, pursue something that I've always had in the back of my mind would be or come to relevance. And certainly it has come to relevance now. All right.
Yes.
So people understand that they need to be represented.
Yeah.
There's a pure benefit in being represented.
Yeah.
There's a disadvantage, I think, in not being represented.
Yes.
Okay, that's and in everything you do. I mean, you wouldn't go into court without the lawyer.
Yeah.
I don't think you should go into home opens without a buyer's agent, quite honestly. And I guess there's an understanding of people have to understand where and how it can be a benefit to you.
Yes, I agree. And we'll go into that in great detail. But
Sure.
why is so there are now quite a few buyers agencies. What
Yeah.
did you want to set out to achieve with Beagl specifically in its branding and how it feels as a buyer's agency?
Okay. As far as the industry is concerned, I'm very much a passion as far as making sure that the professionalism of the industry is maintained, and hence my position as a committee member on the REWA Buyers Agent
Yeah.
Committee. I think that REWA holds to a lot of real estate agents the quality of where we should be pitching ourselves as a service,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's a bar and a level that people should be making sure that people are members of an institute that governs a code of conduct and so on, and has a level of service that they need to aspire to.
Yes.
The public is really, really akin to understanding that REWA is a power
Yeah.
in holding people to task for what they do as a real estate agent. And for the same reason, I think that buyers agents should be held to task as well for the
Absolutely.
quality of service and professionalism.
Absolutely.
All right. So, in my work as a conveyancer, I was taking so many calls from buyers who were asking me to review contracts and look at the contract they're about to buy, and I was appalled really at the representation that was being given to them by their buyer's agent, and their lack of understanding, particularly from over east-based
Mm-hmm.
real estate agents, of the difference of the contractual ways that a property is transacted in WA compared to, say, New South Wales and Victoria.
Yeah.
There is a vast difference, and that's where I saw that. Obviously, I think if we were to develop a buyer's agent, see that that creates and looks after Western Australian property purchases,
Yeah.
then that's where people should be looking when they start to choose a buyer's agent.
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
You really should be, I mean, stick to your knitting. I don't buy properties in Sydney. I know where Woollahra is.
Yeah.
I know where Liverpool is, and it's quite funny because when I'm talking to people in Sydney, I'm relativing the suburbs to what I know about New South
Yeah.
Wales. So if I say to somebody, "Okay, I think there's an opportunity in Mandurah, which is 50 kilometres south of Perth, but on the coast.
Yeah.
Do you understand where Wollongong is compared to Sydney?" And they go,
Yes.
"Oh, right. Yes, I do understand that."
Yeah.
So there's a relative, you need to make it relative as to
Yeah.
what they understand as far as good suburbs and bad suburbs. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right.
All right. Well, and I also think our branding is super fun
It
and the
is.
sage green, and it's a bit more down to earth, I suppose. That's what attracted me to Beagle.
Yep.
And it feels like it represents everybody because a buyer's agent isn't no longer just for, an East Coast investor.
Yeah.
With property prices being so high,
Yeah.
this is a good question for you. Why would I use a buyer's agent now in WA?
Well, relative to your situation, whether
Hmm.
you could be an investor,
Yes.
you could be looking for your forever home.
Hmm.
You could be in the Pilbara,
Yeah.
fly in, fly out, and looking for an investment property in Dunsborough.
Yeah.
I don't know. All
Yeah.
right. There are a whole bunch of different reasons that you would appoint a professional to look after your negotiating and your choice of a property. All right.
Yeah.
So the service isn't just finding the property, it's about winding back and understanding exactly what you need in a property purchase. Okay. So
Yeah.
for an example investor, the first point of call from our point of view is to make sure that they've got their budget in place. They're speaking with a good broker who understands the transactional process. And as with anything, if you're going to go and buy a coat from Myers, you've got a budget in your mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And if you find one that's 350 and you like it, you're going to see one next to it which is going to be 1,000. You've got to know you can't afford that.
Yeah.
Okay. So stop looking in that rack.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
All right. So the budget is most important. From an investment point of view, particularly because if you're going to buy an investment property, there is an amount of money that you're going to be expending on a monthly basis
Yeah.
to grow that wealth. Okay. We do a personal investment analysis on the property before we find the property. All right. And that's relative to what you can afford on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
And then you can look at the property and understand what the depreciation is, how much it's going to cost you from what you can claim on as far as tax deductions are concerned, and then you can appreciate the investment from an after tax situation. So I'm not saying I'm a financial advisor.
Yeah, don't worry. We've got that disclaimer and everything.
All
We
right,
don't give
I'm
financial
saying
advice.
that there are ways that you can detect, understand, and create your budget first
Yeah.
before you go looking.
And we work a lot with people's accountant,
Yeah.
financial advisor, broker
Yeah.
in the whole process. So it's really
Yeah.
having a buyer's agent in your team in the mix is a good idea then to make sure.
That's part of the process.
Yeah.
Honestly. So it really has been part of the team that you employ to buy the right property.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, and that starts with your broker or
Yeah.
your accountant, your advice, and so on. And I really enjoy working with young professionals who've got great equity in their home. They're saying, okay, now we want to buy an investment property. We take them through the process to make sure that they do it correctly, rather than the worst thing you can do is go and look at home opens.
Yes.
Okay. Number one, you're going to get, with all due respect, you're going to get, if you look at 10 home opens in a day, I can tell you by the time you get home, your email box will be filled
Yeah.
with those agents
Yes.
saying, buy from me, buy from me, buy from me. Okay.
Mhm.
Or sell with me, sell with me, sell
Yeah.
with me. So,
And we really do the due diligence process on each property,
Yeah.
don't we? So
Yeah.
how would, in terms of you walk into a property, you like it. I think that's why I actually wanted to become a buyer's agent, or didn't know at the time. But
Yep.
because I had one of those negative experiences when my husband and I went to upsize our house,
Yes.
and two selling agents almost cornered us, split us up, and like tried to peg the price a bit higher. And he's like, I've got offers on the table in the 900s. And I was like, that's not what he said. Like, I speak to my husband, but it wasn't a nice experience. And I guess that's because we're the buyers and the
Yep.
real estate agents are there to look after the sellers. So
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not beat around the bush. Good listing agents are there to maximise the price. Okay.
Don't beat around
And
the
if you're
bush.
walking in, one of the 9 that are walking in the home open,
Yeah.
you got a number on your head. Okay. And all they're interested in
Yeah,
is negotiating that figure up.
that's right.
Okay. So 2 things. I think number 1 is the negotiation and understanding where the seller is where a buyer's agent can be very beneficial,
Yes.
because we have good relationships with a lot of the real estate agents. Understanding that in my past business we're doing 300-400 contracts a month, so those relationships build up over the years, and we know who's selling well and who to buy from and who's not telling the truth. And anyway,
Yes.
but getting back to the first part of buying, you need to know what your budget is, and a buyer's agent will look at property objectively. Okay, we've gone through many properties with our buyers, because that's part of our process, is to walk through the property with the buyers, or to inspect properties for buyers if they're over east or overseas or whatever, and to look at it objectively. Okay, only last week we were given a couple of properties, because it's a collaboration as well to buy property, and we asked for them, our buyers, to give us what they think may be a prospect to look at. And some of the stuff that has been given to us, we go, oh my God, what were they thinking? It's got 2 massive pine trees out the front that are not on the verge but actually in their property. That's going to be an issue, right? And what they saw on the internet, they didn't realise that the train was right behind them.
Oh, very
The
loud.
train line, okay?
Yes.
All those sorts of things that a
Yeah.
buyer's agent is going to make an absentee buyer
Mm-hmm.
very aware of the problems and issues
Yeah.
that they could run into post settlement.
Yeah.
If they enter into this property as a purchase.
Yeah, and it's also even recently when we were looking at a property, we checked what else was on the street. Like, is there,
Correct.
Homes West homes, and
Yeah.
that's not always a problem, but it's those little things that in that moment,
Absolutely.
without
Yeah.
somebody sort of in between, that you can be like, oh, okay, this is great, and then
Sure.
that's it. You've maybe made the wrong purchase.
I think our job is to dig up the material facts. Okay. The selling agent has an obligation in the code of conduct to tell all of the material facts.
Yeah.
But there are material facts about the area, about the property, that they may not have been told. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's our job to dig up those material facts and understanding if there are objections, if they are going to assist, or if they're going to impede the investment post settlement. All of these material facts we need to dig up, and one of those is, as you say, is if we can do a search of state housing homes in that area. It gives peace of mind to the investor that the knowledge that is the fact. You know what I mean? But they know that there's 5 in that area, but they're not directly going to impede on their particular investment. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to, I guess, the Perth property market. There's a lot of talk right now about, and I hear it. It annoys me a little bit. From some Instagram channels, that the Perth property market is going down and it's like not busy at the moment and it's going to whatever. But what would you think, based off even the last few weeks, that Perth looks like at the moment in your eyes? Like,
it's true that there are more properties coming on the market, which is great from a buyer selection.
Yeah.
I think we have gone through that massive boom.
Yes.
All right. There's no doubt about it.
25 point something %.
We've gone through that, and I think that because of the state of the nation as far as WA is concerned, the economic stability of the government.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the wealthiest government in the whole of Australia
Yes.
as we stand.
Yeah, no COVID tax.
and little things that are being developed by other governments,
Mm-hmm.
all right, to pick up their economy
Mm-hmm.
because they haven't got access to things like mining and
Yeah.
gas.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got economically, we're very stable.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if you look at the figures, we've got a massive housing shortage.
Yes.
There's no two ways about that.
Yeah.
And if you look at the rentability or the rental market at just under 2%, well, 1.5
Yep.
to 1.8% vacancy rates, all of those things, including the migration of people coming to Western Australia, are going to give it, I think, a ship that calls steady as she goes
Yeah.
from here on.
Yes.
Okay, so you should be doing perhaps your projections conservatively, as you should do always.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's an upswing, you'll it's a bonus.
Yep.
If there's a downswing, always hold.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes. Always hold.
because it will come.
Yeah.
Time heals all,
Yeah.
and it will get better.
And what is?
But
Yeah.
I
Day
can't.
follows night. Night follows
Correct.
day.
I can't see a downswing. I can see steady as she goes.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people make massive assumptions purely on the data.
Yeah.
Okay, when you're looking at percentage growth for different areas and so on, look, it's a good thing to look at, but there's nothing better than having skin in the game, understanding the suburbs, driving the suburbs, and seeing belly to belly what's happening. Okay, that is the guts of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd say inner suburbs, like even a couple of weeks ago, I went to 2 home opens in Yokine.
Yep.
And there would have been probably 50 plus couples through in the half an hour,
Sure.
and families, and they were under offer that night. And we know that agent generally
Yep.
puts them under offer on that weekend, but under offer that night. So I would say from that, like if there's certain suburbs that it's absolutely still
Yeah.
exactly how it was last year, and that, people are fighting for obviously different suburbs, different school zones, and those things all
Correct. All
make a
those
big
things,
difference.
All those things come into play. But I mean, if there's a perfect property that comes to market in a good area, it's going to have some interest.
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
I guess, and if you want to line up with the other 36 at the front door and give your name and address as you go in,
Yep.
and get hammered afterwards, fine.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that what we do as a buyer's agent is we will pick up the phone, hopefully before that home open. We will know what the seller's incentive is.
Yeah.
We will know what the seller's situation is. Okay, look, I've just been to one in Parkwood, okay? Great that we're working with agents that say, hey, listen, it's not open till this Saturday, but I can get you in this today at 12 o'clock. I got through. And the photographs were being taken of the property. I met the owner who was there, who got his background. What are you doing? I'm wanting to move over east. Have you been here for a long time? Yes, I have. The street looks like it's a happy family street. Can you give us some background? All of those sort of things.
Yeah.
You are not going to know.
Yes.
Unless if you're just walking through a home open. All right?
Yeah.
We were able to video the home. We've sent that video to our buyers in New Zealand. Okay. Who are investors, and they've got the insight on that property before anybody else.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Most important.
And generally, so do you think when you have a buyer's agent that it puts you, well, not only from what you've said, do you think in the terms of putting in an offer that it might put you ahead of the other people who are putting in offers?
There is no doubt.
Yeah.
There is no doubt. Good agents, look, we buyers agents, selling agents, we respect each other. We respect each other's profession.
Yes.
The conversation that I had last night with an agent, we weren't successful, okay, on this particular property. But when he rang this morning, he said, Barry, they've taken the offer which is subject to, we've got 2 weeks. Your offer was slightly below. We actually had the opportunity to go in at, but I knew it was a subject to sale offer, okay, in my own mind. And we had the inside running on what was happening, and the agent was very happy to deal with us. Okay,
Yeah.
because he knew that we'd financially qualified our client.
Mm-hmm.
He knew that if he wrote an offer on that property, which was say 14 days for finance, that we have got the pre-approval.
Yes.
We're not just kicking tires.
Yeah.
All right. So those sort of things are important, and agents will put us in front of. And in fact, we've had agents choose our offer that was lower than another offer, right?
Yep.
Purely because they knew it was going to be followed through to settlement.
Yep.
It's qualified. Okay.
And done. It's less risky to an agent if they want to
Absolutely.
make sure, right? It de-risks the whole process.
Correct.
And what you did touch on something really important there, because we did talk about that in another podcast, and that was do you make sure your clients are financially ready to go? Would you even take them on a home open if they're not?
No.
Yeah. Yep.
End of story. No.
Yep.
All
That's
right.
good.
I mean, as I said before, you're going to buy the jacket. You want?
Yeah, that's right.
Myers?
No,
All right?
no, exactly.
I
Yeah.
want to see your credit card. I want to see you've got
Yeah.
the 350 and
Yeah.
make sure before we go in. Okay,
Yeah.
if I'm going to represent you,
Yeah.
give you my advice, give you my time,
Yeah.
give you my negotiating skills. Well, then we need to know that you're ready to go.
And where it can sit, where
Correct.
we can play.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
It's part of our due diligence choosing clients
Mm-hmm.
to take on. Okay.
Yes.
When you come on as a client, you pay an upfront establishment fee. You pay an ignition fee or an activation fee. So we know then also that the buyer's got skin in the game.
Yeah.
Okay. So that activation fee, we take as being you're serious.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a two-way thing.
Yeah.
They choose me, we choose them.
Yeah.
Okay, as far as clients are
That's right.
concerned.
Should we then talk about the process? So then we would, then what would you do? Like once I've paid my activation fee, what's the process like for me as a buyer?
We want to, we do a fact find of exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah.
We want, obviously, we need to know if you're looking for a forever home. We need to know if you're looking for an investment property and what your situation is. Okay, it is a bounce back and forward and a collaboration. We call it that.
Yeah. In the beginning to get to know each other.
It is because I need to know what their expectations are.
Yes.
And if they're off the planet, we need to reel that back in again.
They sometimes
All
are, right?
They are, exactly.
So everybody wants the gold. I want something for 500,000. That's a 3x2 in the inner city. Like it's just not going to happen.
I mean, conversation we just had. Okay, you looked at a property for me in Rockingham.
Yes.
And we sat down and I said, "How was it?" You said, "Good." I said, "But the underlying problem here might be that it's part of a commercial stroke residential situation as far as the strata is concerned." Okay.
Yeah.
Now I want to see Part A, Part B disclosures as well as minutes of the last few meetings, so I can read into those for my client.
Yeah.
To make sure that there's no cross boundaries of problems.
Yes.
Of the commercial to the residential.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Because and let's face it, an investor buyer in England wanting to buy an investment property in Perth would not know that would be an issue.
Yeah.
Okay. We recently walked away from one in Shoalwater. Okay, because we actually got the minutes and we threw those figures through our system, our due diligence system, realised that the strata levies were about to rise from $835 a quarter up to $1,300 a quarter.
Wow.
Because of a unit entitlement judgment for a 10-year maintenance plan that had gone through.
Oh.
And they wouldn't have seen that or known that had we not done the detection for them.
Yeah.
Right? So
part of the service, and it does save you money and time.
Correct.
I think also, do you think that because Perth property prices have increased that 25% in the last few years even, that it's more important now to have that buyer's agent representation?
It is. I mean, you can look at a core logic valuation of a property and wonder why it's that high. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or why it's that low. But it may be, if it's high, there may well be a number of individual sales in that area
Mm-hmm.
that have jumped up the averages. Okay.
Yeah.
And also, if you're looking at a core logic valuation, you're probably looking at what one would seem or look at from a desktop point of view as far as evaluation is concerned. So it's a guide.
Mm-hmm.
It's only a guide.
Yeah.
And I've seen many contracts of over east buyers buying property through this boom that have gone well and truly over.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they've got to finance approval, and the finance might be approved, but you've got to put more money in
Yes.
because they haven't written it correctly on their offer and acceptance as to how much they're going to fund the property for. So, all
Yeah.
these different things that come into it
Yeah.
are very, very important
Yeah.
to have representation on.
Yes. And so, as a buyer, if I was going to buy without a buyer's agent, am I writing my own offer?
No,
Or
you
will
would.
the selling agent do it?
Okay, the selling agent would write your offer.
And again,
okay?
that's almost bad. It's there.
Look, I mean, in my day, we used to grab a pen and paper and a piece of carbon and visit Mr. and Mrs. Buyer and sit down and talk to them and say, well, we'd like to make an offer on the property, and these
Well,
are
all together.
the terms and conditions and all the rest of it. We'd give them a
that
copy
sounds
of
so much
of the general
nicer.
conditions of sale and say, this is going to be the rules of the game. Please
Yep.
sign here to say you've accepted that.
Yeah, I'll move out of mine on this date. You move here. Yeah.
But
okay.
nowadays, I mean, if they're going to write an offer, it's jumped through on Rewa Docs and it's spat out and sent to the buyer and said, read this, sign here if you're happy.
Yeah.
No explanation, no nothing.
Yes.
Okay. There's a lot that can go wrong
Yeah.
in signing a DocuSign
Yeah.
that you really don't understand a lot of it.
Yeah. The
Okay.
terms on or before,
Correct.
they all mean something
All
slightly
that-
different.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And are there conditions that you need to put on there to protect your own
Yeah.
your situation?
Yeah.
There's a lot in that I sadly these contracts have been spat out from computers, sent to DocuSign, and asking people to press hard and send it back,
Yeah.
and they don't know what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we want to bring back a good buyer's experience.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Because it's a lot of money.
Ex-
It's now even more money. It's 25% more money than 2 years ago too.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's always been a large transaction. It's always been a little bit blinding for a buyer to
Yeah.
understand what to go through.
Yeah.
And we take great pride in making it, when the transaction happens, that buyers are happy with what they've done.
Yeah.
All right. That's our objective.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah, I like that. And that's what I love about this side of the industry is that we get to make it nice again for buyers. We
Yeah.
help you have a good experience and
Yeah.
shield you from anything that could be coming on
Yeah.
that side.
Once upon a time, there was a lot of activity with servicing buyers.
Hmm.
When I first started in real estate, you put your buyer in your car and you drove around and you showed him the suburb and
Yeah.
you told him what was good, what was bad,
Yep.
and so on. And I've still got friends from 32 years ago that I did that with,
Yep.
selling properties in Mount Pleasant and different areas, who are friends today and still do transactions with us.
Yeah.
And I think we need to bring back that level of service
Yes.
that makes people happy when they've done the transaction,
Yeah.
and not think, oh my God, have I done the right thing? Have
Yeah.
I done the wrong thing?
That's how you feel when you buy a car.
Or they purchase. You're dead right.
It's like the
You're dead
same as a
right.
car. You don't want to be like, what does that mean? What is this? I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, I just had that experience with a car.
Okay,
But
so
yes.
you want to you want to feel that you've done the right thing,
Yeah.
and having someone on your side. Sure, there's a cost,
Hmm.
all right, but I can guarantee you that the 7 decisions prior to making the one decision,
Yeah.
all right, the money saved on not making one of those 7 decisions
Yeah.
is threefold
Yeah.
compared to the savings of the purchase. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Absolutely.
All
I've
right,
seen it.
because
Yeah, absolutely.
we've seen people want to buy stuff
Yeah.
at a price,
Yeah.
and I know what the outcome would have been
Yeah.
post settlement.
Yeah.
It would have been a whole lot of tears and pus and pain.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah. Fussing pain.
And we
You will
don't want that.
soon
We've
know
got
that you get Barryisms when you get Barry. I love it.
That's right.
He has a whole catalogue, but
Yeah.
yes. Now, okay, we won't touch on the common mistakes because there are a lot, but actually maybe give me your top 2 common mistakes that buyers make without a buyer's agent. Let's see if we can help a few people.
Probably from an investment point of view, not knowing the numbers.
Yep.
You've got to know your numbers before you enter the buying arena.
Yep.
Because without representation and not knowing the numbers, sometimes the wrong gear kicks in as far as the decision's concerned.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy that because I like it.
Yeah.
Not I'm going to buy that because it's a very good investment.
Yeah.
And without having that little man on your shoulder saying, no, don't do it. You can make some big mistakes.
And it can be a bit of a frenzy, I guess. Like you get to a home open, the one I went to last weekend, there's 50 people there. And then, the real estate agents, some of them, they'll pull people off. People are starting to make offers and, it's kind of like a silent auction, but it's not, in a way and taking those, estimates of offers and where they're sitting at. And I guess you could get lost without, having a buyer's agent or somebody to say, well, let's wait, let's cool.
Exactly.
Like the process in also managing that negotiation, so that you're not in that at all.
Correct.
And that's probably a big part of it too, right? So the emotion of, an auction type situation is taken away.
You can really easily get caught up in the euphoria.
Yes.
There's no 2 ways about that.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And I guess the other mistake is not knowing really what the seller's motivation is.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
And without asking the agent, the agent would probably never tell you, but there may well be a solution in negotiating with the agent, knowing what the seller's situation is.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And that comes to being with a lot of properties, particularly with people who are downsizing.
Yeah.
All right? There are solutions for downsizers to buy without having to sell your home.
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
actually, let's talk about.
You talked about
Can we
that
talk
with
about
your
that?
broker.
I did talk about that with my broker,
Correct. Exactly right.
but there is also on that we talked about it with the broker. But do you think the best thing for somebody who does want to downsize would be to speak to a buyer's agent first?
Yes.
Before a selling agent, and why?
Well, the selling agent's got the property for sale.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You need to plan your purchase.
Yeah.
And part of planning your purchase, if you're downsizing, obviously, if you've got an agent knocking on your door saying, do you want to sell? Do you want to sell? Do you want to sell? You're saying, yes, I do, but I can't buy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I sit down with people in their $2.5 million home who want to downsize, they want to buy something for 1.5, they want to put the $1 million in their super or whatever they want to do with it, but they want to get away from this 1,000 square metre garden that they are maintaining every week.
I want that.
All right. That's what stage of life you're at.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
But
I'm in the. We should
I
trade
tell you, at
houses.
my stage of life, you don't want that.
No, I do.
You want your.
I can't find
you
one.
want your 3x2 on 450 square metres.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your caravan
I
round
have
the
that.
corner, and so you can get out and about. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
But how do I get there?
Yes.
That's the question.
Yeah.
The worst thing you can do is not know or plan to get there. Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking to a buyer's agent, there are ways that you can plan this move.
Yeah.
There are ways that you can plan this move that says, I want to buy that. I want to settle on that whilst I keep my own home, and I want to move slowly into that.
Yeah.
While I get rid of my 35 years of rubbish.
Yeah.
That I've accumulated.
Yeah.
All right. And I need to get rid of them in my 6 skip bins before I do anything. Or you can go to market, get rid of everything, go to market, wonder what you're doing, and then you sell your home in 2 weeks' time, and you go, oh my God,
No, I'm going to do all that.
WTF? I need to find somewhere to live now.
I'm glad you said WTF and not me. Oh, that's
All
funny.
right, so
Yeah.
plan it.
Yes.
Sit down with someone and plan
Yeah.
it, because there are financial ways that you can go out and look.
Yeah.
You know what you can spend.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You can plan your purchase
Yeah.
without expending a dollar.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we make it kinder, right? We help the whole process.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. To purchase correctly, understand what the seller's motivation is.
Yeah.
The seller might want to rent back for 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is the case that puts you in a better position,
Yeah.
because you can get an income on the property you've just purchased while you're filling up your 6
Skip bins.
skip bins and getting your place ready for sale,
Yeah.
without having the anxiety, without having the worry about where I'm going to live if I
Yeah.
sell. Okay.
That is a great example. And I think one that's coming up a lot right now, more and more, sorry, I should say.
I've got 2 meetings this afternoon, one in Whitegum Valley, one in Bayswater,
Oh, Bayswater.
introduced by real estate agents who want to list their house for sale.
Yeah.
And understand now that there's got to be an exit strategy for this seller.
Yes.
And if it's planned correctly, the whole transaction for this listing agent,
Yeah.
who's referring this buyer to me,
Yes.
is going to be a pleasure to
Yes.
work with. Okay?
Absolutely.
And that's what we want.
Yeah. And I recently had a similar situation with a FIFO guy. So it's not just that,
Absolutely.
it's like everybody. And he's still a client of mine, but we're not going to buy yet. We're getting his finances sorted. He's selling another property. I'm
Yep.
helping him. We helped him.
You've given him good advice.
Yeah, we
okay?
helped him. We helped him email, to get the tenants out and what to write. Like, it's not just the buying a house; it's helping you through that transition of buying and selling at the same time.
With anything you do, the foundations have got to be correct.
Yeah.
The discussions that you have prior to going and looking with a buyer's agent that's reputable, licensed, please.
Hang on, so wait, pause there. That was a question, because I have to say, and this is a little bit contentious, but I don't care. It's my podcast. There is a lot of Facebook type advertising around certain courses that you can do that cost quite a bit of money to become a buyer's agent.
Correct.
What is that? And does that mean I'm a buyer's agent at the end of that? Or what? I mean, talk to me about it. Should I do that? Or
there's a few courses around that people are being incentivized to sign up to, which are online.
Yeah.
All they do is tell you how to become a buyer's agent. It's not it's not the way that you should be licensed.
Yes.
Right? In WA we have strict licensing laws. If you're going to become a registered salesperson under DMIRS, well then you need to be working under a training or certificate license and employed by, all right, to be able to function as a buyer's agent.
Yeah.
Okay. Huge difference from what's said that you can get your license, all right? You're not getting your license, all right?
Is it a cornflakes box?
You want your license, you have to do your diploma.
Yes.
Okay, in real estate.
I did that.
All right. And then apply for your license after you've worked under a training certificate holder for 2 years and been gainfully employed.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I haven't done that diploma yet. Yes, no.
Yeah, okay. So it is not as easy as it looks.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it's like saying I'm going to do a course for 7 weeks on how to be a plumber.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
And then I'm going to hang my shingle online and say I'm a plumber.
Yeah.
Someone's going to catch up with you.
Yeah.
Okay. You cannot do that.
Yes.
You cannot write an invoice out for your services unless you're properly under the regime of the licensing board.
So if I want to select a buyer's agent, I should be looking for a WA license holder who has their triennial.
Well,
somebody has a triennial license.
You can ask them, what is your RA number? What license are you? Whose license are you acting under? Yeah. Okay. That if they can give you an RA number and they can give you their number from DMIRS as a registered salesperson, well then you tick both boxes.
Okay.
If they can only give you their registered their registration number under MES and they're
Yeah.
not gainfully employed because they haven't done their training or certificate,
Yeah.
well, then run a mile.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if something goes wrong,
Yes.
in this game we have to have a thing called professional indemnity
Yeah.
insurance,
Yeah.
and they would not have been given professional indemnity insurance unless they were licensed correctly.
Perfect.
Okay?
Yeah.
So
So check that,
absolutely.
or just come to Beagl. Like.
And also listing agents should be looking for that as well.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I know that through REWA, where they're actively out there looking for and making sure that buyer's agents are operating correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a listing agent working with a buyer's agent, in inverted commas,
Yeah.
you really should be asking for their RA number,
Yeah.
their registration number.
Well, there are loopholes, but we won't go into that.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't want to. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I think, I think we've gone through pretty much everything for today. And I mean, we want to do some really good, follow up and some snippets to help people guide them through. But I guess just, what are your final thoughts of wisdom that you'd like to tell somebody who's looking to buy a house now?
Yeah.
It is a bit of a struggle out there still.
It is a struggle.
Yeah.
I guess the choice is yours. You can go to Home Opens, as I said before, and get tagged by every selling agent.
Yeah.
And have your inbox full when you get home, or you can be properly represented.
Yeah.
All right. Now, the way we properly represent our buyers is that we're obviously we have an activation fee. We go into the fact finding to understand
Authority
what they're
to
looking
act.
for. We have an authority to act. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Now, then we start the process. We go through their finance,
Mm-hmm.
make sure they've got a budget. We tell them. I don't know how many times I've told my buyers, "Hey, get back to the budget. All right,
Yeah.
stop dreaming."
You have to be my buyer's agent.
You have. Yeah, it does. And then they say, "Yeah, right, Barry. Thanks for that."
Yeah.
The service is going to become more popular.
Yes,
There's
in
no- I
Perth.
think
It is
so.
already. Yeah.
It is already. People are realising.
Yeah.
And I love working with young professionals.
Me too.
With young professional, small children, no time to look on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It's our job to provide them. We provide them with an active map. We have a WhatsApp channel that we have the whole team working for them.
Yeah.
All right. It is a collaboration.
Yeah.
With our team to get our buyers the property that they require.
Yeah, no one's going to have time. It's our full-time profession to look
It
for that
is.
property for them. So it's like 5 of us dedicated plus the rest.
Absolutely.
Looking
Yep.
and calling every agent in that area and getting them in, giving them the VIP buyer's experience
Correct.
that they should be getting, like what used to get in the olden days. Can I say that?
Exactly right. It used to be that way.
Yeah, that you get driven around
bring
and
back
take it.
that
Actually, can we
service.
get like a limo or something?
Bring back that service.
Yeah, bring back the service that it should be to buy that home. I think, let's make that our final point.
And make it a nice experience.
Yes.
And have you, when you settle and
Yeah.
move in, say, that was good.
That was good. There's a lot of talk about off-market properties. Do you see many off-market properties as a buyer's agent?
We do have access to
Mhm.
off-market properties from listing real estate agents and situations where people want to sell
Yeah.
off-market. You've really got to cut through the crap because there are some platforms that try and appeal to people and say that they've got lists and lists and lists of off-market property and you should look at these. But I'm saying to buyers, for goodness sake, beware. There's often a good reason that they're off-market. Right? If it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true.
Yeah.
Right? If it smells like, if it tastes, it usually is. It usually is. Okay.
Oh, there's a barrier.
You've really got to be careful.
Yeah.
True off-market properties that we come across
Yeah.
are properties that agents are happy or have listed, but the seller has got can't sell.
Yep.
Can't sell because they've got nowhere to go. Okay, we've done this many times with buyers. We had a buyer who was I can't say who the person was, but for many reasons they couldn't go into home opens because of their public persona. Okay, and they wanted to buy a property for their parents who were coming from overseas. Now, we reached, and they were being beaten 9 times out of 10 with offers. So we reached out to agents to say, this is what we're looking for. If you've got a situation where you've got a seller who wants to rent back for a particular time, my buyer is ready to buy, and they'll pay the market price.
For the rental, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, perfect.
We found that we had an agent ring up. I've got enough off-market property. I think that might suit the criteria you're looking for. And we did the business.
Yeah.
Okay. That property never went to market. It was a true off-market property, but it was a solution that we gave to our buyer.
Yes.
All right. And it provided him with the solution of not having to compete with other buyers on the market.
Yes.
All right. So that's what that to me, that's a true off-market property. I enjoyed it.
I enjoy that. I love working with them, and I'm in a home that I know is secure, and I don't have that buyer's remorse or regret at the end.
Correct.
Because I've been taken on this journey, and I know I've done my due diligence, and I've got everything, and I feel confident. Not like me with my car, But
exactly.
yes, yeah.
Been lovely talking to you.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming, Barry. And we hope that we've helped some buyers today, and that let's leave it with everybody to change the buyer's experience in Perth.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks,
Thanks,
Barry.
Thank you, Zoe.